Hello everyone, we are going to have a conversation with 43 ranker Mr. Shubham Shukla. And first, I welcome you on the behalf of Unacademy family.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. So Shubham, should we start?
Yes, sir, definitely.
So, okay. The very first and simple question, how is this feeling of being selected?
It's euphoric and it's yet to sink in completely. I mean, it's like not even 36 hours and like one PDF and one row in a PDF can change life in so many ways. So it's very overwhelming and I'm pretty happy about it and pretty relaxed about it. But at the same time, I'm very excited about the things are yet to come and everything that is going on. So.
Definitely, a lot of things are yet to come. So let's talk about your journey. So when you start your preparation?
So I remember starting my preparation in my final semester. That was in the January semester of 2018. And this was when I actually began my preparation with 6 months to go before the college end.
Okay. So you started early, it seems to be. Said, but I believe that there is a one more question, like what make you to go for civil services, and why did you decided in fact to go for civil services?
So there are a couple of reasons. One is a couple of family members working for the government is an additional push. And then the biggest reason would be my association with the NSS BITS Pilani, and wherein I come from a metropolitan city like Kolkata and I saw a very different Pilani outside, and this had actually pushed me into working for the people. I felt that I could be a better administrator than a better engineer and a good engineer. So this is why I chose to prepare for this examination, sir.
It's really very nice to identifying potentials and what exactly you are willing to do in your life. That is a great thing.
Yes, sir.
As we know that it is a very hectic process, it's a long time process, it's take a lot of time. So there is always ups and downs during the preparation. So can you share some your ups and downs during your preparation?
Technically, sir, there have been good points where I have been clearing my prelims continuously, getting the chance to write mains 4 consecutive times. And the downs would be the part where after every mains, I like past 3 mains, I would not be able to clear them. And then there would be a lull period wherein I would feel low, I would feel dejected. And at the same time, so it's the pressure of expectations and basic human psychology when you see people around you doing so good and you are stuck in the very same place. And you begin to doubt on yourself. But then this is somewhere like I tried picking myself up every time. And I knew that I needed only one shot, one opportunity. So that's it, sir.
Okay, so the challenges what you face, do you think that everyone who is preparing for civil services, they go through almost the similar phases?
No, sir. I wouldn't say that everyone does go through the very similar phase. I have been very fortunate to have a very strong family support coming from a very decent family background. With financially, my family has supported me emotionally. My mother has been very supportive and my friends have been supportive too, but it unfortunately has not been the case with everyone. So probably the goal is the same, but the different path and the obstacles are different for different people, sir.
Okay. So Shubham, what your personal strength that help you to overcome troubles and lows during your preparation?
So I would say my biggest strength would be perseverance, and another strength that I would say would be the vision that I had in the back of my head. There was this voice in the back of my head which was telling me, like, thoda sa aur karna hai, thoda sa push karna hai. You just need one shot. So why it was just that.
That the motivation was always there. That was inside.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'll now switch to your optional. I guess political science is your option.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
First, I would like to know how your preparation of political science helped you in your journal studies, or how it both mutually reinforced each
other. Okay, so before I say anything, I would say that my first 2 mains I wrote with chemistry as my optional, And it was only after the two disastrous mains that I switched over to political science. And political science in some way reinforced whatever I had learned in my GS, especially sections of GS2 and some parts of GS4 and some sections of GS1 with respect to society and everything, women, gender issues. So it was an additional factor, but at the same time, I had to be very careful that I do not drag political science into my GS answers. So it was an enabler. It was an additional benefit to have political science as an optional, but we need to be very careful at the very same time.
Okay. So if we can say it really helps in your general studies, but we need to be careful about it. So
Yes,
can you
definitely.
identify, these days people are opting political science a lot. So can you identify some myths around political science?
There are a couple of myths around political science, sir. The biggest myth is that we do not need to prepare for paper two. Paper two sabko aata hai because it is international relations. You cannot be any more wrong. Uske liye bhi preparation, you need to give very dedicated time to this. Second is the biggest myth that would be ki paper one is high scoring, paper two is low scoring or whatever. So again, this is another myth that has been debunked by the many toppers and many people who have scored very well in political science. And the third biggest myth would be ki political science ke liye you'll have to read this many books, ye karo. Simple reading from the internet, from common locally available sources, and using your common sense while answering the questions. If you look at the questions aren't out of the world, but you need to apply your logic more than what you have crammed up. So this is something that many aspirants have very fatly chosen to ignore, but I tried to work on it, sir.
In general, people believe that taking political science as optional means a vast syllabus, and we need to go for, specifically in paper two, international relations with many countries, maybe more than 100 countries. Is it true?
So I wouldn't say we need to go into like the depths with every 100 or 150 or 120 countries, because there are many countries which do not hold very much significance for India and the Indians' position in the international affairs. For example, unless there's a dignitary visiting the Baltic countries, we just need to know who they are and what is their strengths or weakness that they play into. So we do not, and similarly, for example, Latin America is treated as a whole. So we do not need to go into the details or the factual details of things, but we need to understand a perspective or a policy perspective into things.
So I guess
how India has been doing even with some nations like Brazil, Argentina, sir.
So I guess it is more about Indian foreign policy centric relationships, I guess.
To a very fair extent, sir, Indian foreign policy, and to supplement that, global geopolitical affairs, again, to which Indian foreign policy is very much involved with, sir.
Okay. So, and what about your current affairs journey? How you prepare? Because these days, again, current affairs seems to be so vast. A lot of sources are there. So, how you have decided you will prepare your current affairs?
So, like my current affairs preparation for different stages was different. For prelims, unlike many other toppers, I did not actually religiously follow a newspaper as such, but I used those some locally available PDFs. And for mains, what I did was I was actually reading ORF, some articles from ORF, again, not very religiously, but then I had them, and then few editorials here and there related to the burning issues. For example, if I were to talk about the upcoming exams, then criminal identification bill, and then a couple of things here and there. And for the interview, I relied very seriously on 2 or 3 newspapers. So this was my strategy for it. So,
so do you think that answer writing, regular answer writing, are very helpful in preparation of your optional as well as general studies?
Very much so. I am very much in support of regular answer writing. It need not be one test per day or even one or 2 tests per week like that. But even if you're writing 1 or 2 answers per day, and you're able to time it well, you're able to frame it well, you're able to structure it well, and at the same time, you're able to address the demand of the question, it will be very good in the long run, especially in the crunch pressure situation in the exam hall.
Shubham, I'll ask a very comprehensive question, basically.
Yes, sir.
How did you develop a strategy for your preparation? I mean, why I'm asking this? Because it is a long journey. General studies are there, essay is there, optional is there. So many hurdles are there. So what was your comprehensive strategy to crack UPSC?
So I do not have any grand strategy, or I do not have any grand strategy as such. One of the first things that I did as a beginner was like making a book list or the resource list from a couple of toppers. And then I decided to trim it down, and I started following the basic books and supplemented coaching material from here and there. And this is what I did. And I tried to write answers wherever and wherever I could. And a very important part of my preparation was revolving around revision and attempting mocks. So it was like a combination of reading and then revising and then attempting mocks and then analyzing them through. So
it seems to you.
There's no one single. Sorry, sir.
No, please. It seems to be you're talking about reading, retaining it, and regularly writing it. It is all about the crux, I guess.
Yes, sir. If not by regular writing, I do not mean attempting one mock a day. Even if one question or two questions a day, or even every other day I write a couple of questions, that was something that I knew I was making progress with.
So I would say one more thing, Shubham, as again, I'm repeating it, it was a very long and tough journey. So do you have any specific antidote to face challenges, or you can say during your journey?
So I wouldn't say anything as particularly for my journey as such, but there were times when I felt that I wasn't doing that well inside my head, and I felt that I needed someone to talk to. So I had people around me, and this is something that many aspirants, I've been seeing people around me suffering in solitude. So this is something that I would want to say, that you do not have to suffer alone. Like, please pay very strong focus on your mental health, and if you're not doing, go talk to people, get some help. There's no shame in it. And we need to understand that this is just an exam, sir. Nothing more than that. People treat it as a matter of life and death, and it's just an exam. If you are getting it, well and good. If not, there are many other ways and many better ways to serve the country. But you do not have to sacrifice yourself for it. So this is what I wanted to this is the antidote that I would want to say.
Really nice, Shubham. So I'll throw some quick questions because most of the learners are willing to know about this. The very first question is that is it necessary to go for a lot of original books for PSIR?
No, sir, I wouldn't say. And to be very honest, I did not read books myself, sir.
No. Second important thing, do you think that paper 2 of political science play a very important role in political science as an optional subject?
Definitely, sir. The paper 2 is of 250 marks. So it actually plays a very 50% role. 50% of your marks you'll get from this paper, almost 50%. So yeah, you do not have to ignore this paper.
Now, the third important thing, is it necessary to go for 2-3 newspapers regularly, or one newspaper 3 to 4 hours daily?
No, sir, absolutely not. I am an example of this. I've never, I did not actually religiously go through newspapers. Kabhi dekh leta tha, sir, but never religiously 3-4 hours a day. So it can be avoided, but then it's up to the convenience of the people.
Do you think that laws are very normal in the journey of preparation?
Yes, sir. For many students, it's very normal to feel low, and it's very normal to be a little sad, a little underwhelmed, but you just have to pick yourself up. So that's what I have been talking about some time back, sir.
It's really very nice and inspirational talk to you. But last thing I would say, what will be your message to our learners?
So I would say that have faith on yourself, and there will be times you'll be doubting yourself, but then you'll have to understand that you are a mere mortal, and this is exam conducted by mortals. So you do not have to be what we call in Hindi a shurveer for this. Just simple, use your basic abilities, be calm, be confident, and use your common sense and work hard for it. But you do not have to sacrifice yourself for it. And best of luck, I would like to wish all of you, all the students. And I hope as many people can serve the country in the near future in different space, sir.
So, Shubham, a big thank you from Unacademy. And we really wish you for a great future ahead for you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you so very much, sir.
Yes, Shubham, you can exit now. And I guess,
Okay.
I mean, now interview is over, basically. Interview is over.
Yes, sir.
So just I would say that even this year, political science result is very nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was a really good. It was which attempt? I mean, like it was your.
So it was my fourth attempt, sir.
Okay, it was your fourth attempt, and then definitely, if it is a fourth attempt, then a lot of patience is inside you, I guess.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, sir. Like.
ठीक है शुभम.
I think so.
Exit कर सकते. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Very nice talking to you, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. Good day, sir.